Chat Atelier fans, this is Chris Bolts, and I'm coming in with an episode review of this week's episode, A Light in the Rainy Day. Now, before I do get into the content, do make sure you like, share, subscribe, turn on your post notifications. All that stuff really does help me out. Now, we're all getting back to normal after the events of the past couple of episodes where the girls were stuck inside of that labyrinth dealing with that dragon, which was so ceremoniously defeated by Kefri at the last moment with his magic. You see right here, Agat and Coco studying with each other in the room. Agat gets very irritated when there's lots of noise around, so she gets up and she leaves the room, leaving Coco by herself. Agat's working on her own special kind of magic, which is a light magic. Now, there is a little bit of a contradiction right here. We're going to look at her drawing, her seal drawing here in just a minute. Now, one thing that the World of Witch Hat Atelier has told us is that in order to go ahead and create a proper seal, a proper spell, completely close your line for the circle. Now, we see that the line is closed here, but it's actually crossed. It is technically closed, but I thought that the circle had to be a near perfect or a perfect circle in order for it to be an effect spell. We see that she does close it off and her spell does activate. Now, it's a light spell that she's creating herself. She says that the light is weak and it's unstable, but if we're just going to go ahead and just fast forward all the way to this part right here, and I'll come back for the rest of it, but this is later in the episode. She's doing the same exact type of drawing and she's going to cross the line again, and the result is pretty much going to be the same. So you saw right there that the lines crossed, but it was a little smaller, but it still crossed nevertheless. The spell activates, but this time she says that it's still wavering, but it's more stable than before. So I don't know exactly if there is a contradiction there or if it was the quality of the circle that she drew. Maybe they'll explain this going further. Yeah, this right here just seems like a little bit of a contradiction to me. I thought in order to have a really fully working spell, you need to have the circle closed properly. No wavering lines or anything like that. Nothing about a crisscross line. So again, maybe the series will explain why the crisscross still results in the spell working and not failing. But I just wanted to go over that. That's just a little nitpick there. That's something that just bothered me while I was watching this episode. The majority of this episode is more of a learning experience for Coco. Now, one of the fallouts from going to Calm is that Coco was not able to go in there and pick out her own special type of pen that would fit her. She is very adept with drawing with this pigment stone. She can draw real good lines with the pigment stone, but the pigment stone is not really good for drawing on paper. But I'm thinking that she's probably going to eventually just fall in love with the pigment stone, because if the pigment stone is how you can draw effectively, then just stick with the pigment stone. So I'm thinking that she'll probably stick with the pigment stone, but a lot of this practice and repetitious drawing tires her out. Kefri somehow mysteriously just appears right behind her. That's generally what good masters can do. But here, Kefri demonstrates how he is a really good teacher. He brings Coco to break up the monotony into the kitchen and has her apply her skill set to helping with cooking. And he pulls out this pot that's full of this stew that's been cooking for 2 years. Of course, Coco didn't know that at the time she tasted it. She thought it was really good, but then Kefri lets her in on the secret that this is a pot that's been cooking for 2 years. But in order for the food to stay fresh, you have to keep going in there and reapplying that spell. Otherwise, it'll wear out and then the food would really spoil. The practical lesson here is that Kefri wants her to be able to use her spell drawing skills to everyday life in general. And that's where Kefri tells her that applying your spells in a real world setting is the best way to learn something at it quickly. He says right there, if you want to learn something quickly, it's best to integrate it into your daily life. And that's how he was able to master water. Coco has mastered basically drawing a fireball, so she has a fire affinity. So this is basically Kefri telling her, hey, why don't you apply your lessons in helping me cook? And Coco, of course, goes along with it and says, yes, I will go ahead and help do that. This leads to them wanting to go out there and have a picnic And as they are going out, because it's raining outside, but Keyfree reminds them, hey, we're witches, so we can still have our picnic and enjoy the sunlight even while it is raining. So this is actually something that's pretty cool to see, this juxtaposition of this rain. I actually like it when it's raining outside, but it's also sunny at the same time. So this is actually a really cool feat. As they are out having their picnic, when they come back, they run into this guy that just appears at the Atelier. His name is Orugio. Orugio happens to be what's called a watchful eye. If there's any type of atelier that is separate from any of the main ateliers, these ateliers need to have what's called a watchful eye that's kept over them. And the watchful eye pretty much prevents these ateliers from going rogue. If there's any type of atelier that's separate from the one in Calm or the Great Hall, and they don't want these ateliers to become silos, to become witches that go in there and do their own things. Watchful eye is assigned to him. So Orugio is the watchful eye for this particular atelier. He stands out because when Keyfree tells Orugio who Coco is, that Coco is someone that came into contact with forbidden magic, Orugio's like, no, I want no part of the brimmed caps. I want to go ahead and turn in this little girl. But Keyfree was like, hell no, I'm not going to let you do that. If you do that, I will turn my magic on you, even if it is you. So I'm pretty sure over time we're going to figure out exactly why Keyfree has such a disdain and hatred for the brim caps, and why he is willing to lose everything in order to keep Coco at his atelier. Obviously, Coco is the only lead that he has to the brimmed caps and to forbidden magic, so he doesn't want to lose that. And he makes mention of that when Orugio says he wants to turn in Coco to the Knights Morales. Keyfree comes in and explains that the Knights Morales, they do not play, they act strictly in accordance with the rules of the Day of the Pact, and they grant no quarter or exception. If Coco gets turned over to the Knights Morales, they're going to erase all of her memories, including her love of magic. And then on top of that, they would also erase his memories as well. Keyfree is quite manipulative here. He says that instead to actually antagonize Orugio. It's obvious Orugio and Keyfree are good friends, so he says these words to put Orugio in a bind, and Orugio knows it, and he just stomps off and goes to his room. But in his room, Coco actually discovers that he is the creator of these glowstone paths that are the things that made her fall in love with the magic. She's very appreciative of that, very thankful of that, and thanks Orugio, who actually is very happy to hear that his magic has actually helped someone. And although he does come off as standoffish, dismissive, aloof, and aggressive, he really has a heart of gold. He keeps his door open for Coco if she decides to ever want to come back up to his room for any type of assistance. He's a really cool guy, really nice and laid back. He's not the type of character like Agat is, who tries to push everyone away. He's just the kind of guy that's like, man, just leave me alone. I don't want to be involved in a lot of things out there. And the episode ends with this man coming to the atelier. His son is trapped in a carriage. Agat wants to go out and attend with Keyfree because I think her goal is she wants her magic to be useful on the outside. She begs Keyfree to allow her to attend with him to help out saving this boy. So that pretty much is the end of the episode right here. After everything that happened in the past 2 episodes, I think this is a really good episode to bring everything back down, let people off that roller coaster ride just a little bit. Really loved all the artwork and the various displays of magic, the lessons that Keyfree continues to bestow upon Coco on how to master magic, basically integrating it in her life is the best way to go about doing it. Also having the introduction of the new character Orugio, who has a little bit of a mystery to him, but also cares about this atelier that he obviously is a part of, and having the world broken out even more, the explanation of who the watchful eyes are, as well as the Knights Morales. I think all of that is really good. Really getting this whole entire world set up and falling more in love with these characters and discovering some things about Keyfree. Like I said, Keyfree is very manipulative with words. He's very persuasive. There's a lot about Keyfree that we don't know yet, obviously, and what his relationship with the brimmed caps are. So I am going to go ahead and give this episode a 9 out of 10. Really good slow burn, but a really good slow burn. What did you guys think about this episode? Jump down in the comments, let me know what you guys think, and make sure you do like, share, subscribe, turn on the post notifications. All that stuff really does help me out. And remember, this is Chris Boats signing off, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Take it easy.